Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. TMC MP, that is Trinamool Congress MP and senior lawyer Kalyan Banerjee today moved the Calcutta High Court questioning the Election Commission's transfer order of several IAS and IPS officers in West Bengal and soon after the announcement of the assembly polls in the state. Now, the petitioner, that is Kalyan Banerjee, has named Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar a party respondent in the matter. Now, the petition, which questions the transfers without consulting the state government before the ECI took the decisions, is likely to be heard early next week. A lawyer who was connected with the matter said. Now, as everyone knows, that a large number of senior IAS and IPS officers, including the state's chief secretary, home secretary, and the director general of police, were replaced by the Election Commission within hours of the announcement of the assembly elections in West Bengal on March 15th. But it's just not West Bengal. In the state of Tamil Nadu as well, if you look at the IS and the IPS officers have been transferred. So the question we are asking is that looking at the scale of transfers, the scale at which these transfers are happening, is this unprecedented? What does it go to show? Does it violate the federal structure? And now that it is being challenged in the court of law, what can we expect in the days to come? Joining me this evening is retired bureaucrat G. Balachandran. So thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure to have you on the program. And now Kalyan Banerjee, the Trinamool Congress MP, is moving the High Court. Now, what does it go to show? This is something which is, of course, not acceptable by the state government. But now that the MPs are moving to the court, what does it go to show? The stalemate would continue. How is it going to unfold now? Because elections are around the corner.
Yeah, the state government certainly is not happy about the way Election Commission has taken action. But once the electoral process is on move, there is a systemic arrangement that no court can intervene. I'm afraid they may say that they have taken steps and they are empowered to take the steps. But the court may also advise informally, without any order, they may also advise the Election Commission to follow the established norms. Now, what are these established norms? When an officer, number one, any officer who has completed 3 years in the same station will be transferred at the time of election. This is a generally accepted norm. When such an officer is transferred, it is also the norm that the state government will be asked to give a panel of 3 names against a vacancy to be caused by the transfer of this officer. In the case of West Bengal, number one, without giving any reason whatsoever, the Chief Secretary, the Home Secretary, the Calcutta Police Commissioner, the Additional Director General of Law and Order, and the Director General of Police have been transferred. Now, normally, if they have not completed their 3 years, even then they can be transferred when, during the electoral process, if any officer is seen to be biased in his functioning, such an officer will be transferred by the Election Commission. And again, in his place, a panel of 3 names will be requested from the state government, and the Election Commission can choose any of the 3 names. This is the norm. Now, immediately after announcement of the election, if they transfer Chief Secretary and DGP and Home Secretary of the state without consulting the state government, what does it show? They are behaving in a very autocratic manner. Look what has happened in Assam. They have decided to transfer 5 or 6 district magistrates or deputy commissioners, whatever be the designation there. And they have requested the Chief Secretary to give names of officers, a list of officers. So there the Chief Secretary is consulted. Here, Chief Secretary himself has been transferred. Now, the same thing, 4 district...
This is the objection. So this is the objection which has come from Mamata Banerjee government. And they've said that this is like interfering into the federal system and this is not done and they shouldn't have done it. This is what they are objecting. And then without consulting the state government, they go ahead with the transfers like these.
Yeah, that's what they have done. You see, number one, what is the reason for transferring Chief Secretary who is not, or Home Secretary or DG of Police or Additional Director General of Police Law and Order or Police Commissioner of Calcutta? What is the logic behind this transfer? Have they been accused of any bias? The mere accusation is not sufficient. Have they found the reasons? They are satisfied. Election Commission is satisfied that the charges against them are valid. They are biased and therefore they are transferred. Have they given any reason? No. This shows an autocratic attitude of the election commission. Even if the chief secretary is transferred, then they should have asked the state government. Normally, the secretary personnel is empowered to send the list of 3 names. They should have asked him to send the name of 3 names from which they can choose anybody. Now, let me make it very clear. I do not have any complaint about the chief secretary and home secretary whom they have chosen anew. Per se, these officers are good, but so are other officers. Why should they particularly, without consulting the state government, choose these 2 officers? Why should, in the first instance, transfer CS, home secretary, etc.? What is the reason? They have not given any reason. Look at it, what happened in Tamil Nadu. Regarding 4 districts, Nagapattinam, Virudhunagar, etc., 4 districts, the BJP gave a complaint about the SPs. Within hours, all the 4 have been transferred. Now, if the Election Commission is getting a complaint, they should go into the complaint, look at it whether it is fair or not, valid or not, and then only they should issue the orders. So what kind of picture Election Commission is showing to the rest of the world? That they are acting as a sub-office of the union government. Now, that is the impression we are getting.
A few days back when Mamata Banerjee had held a press conference, she said that, this is how BJP will try and create a riot-like situation. They will try and smuggle in arms. They will try and smuggle in money. Now, are these fears unfounded, or this is just a political point which she's trying to make? Because when you transfer the officers, then obviously the system comes under your control. So the allegations which Mamata Banerjee has put, are they unfounded, or do they have some merit, you feel, in it?
Well, I have no answer about it. I do not think that the officers who have been posted will go to the extent of supporting the Election Commission, or the Election Commission will be indulged in the exercise of encouraging illegal weapons to be brought from outside or creating a law and order situation within the state. But in a limited manner, I will say that they have acted autocratically, and they have also done another thing which is very strange. They have posted officers up to the rank of principal secretary, secretary to the state government, etc., as election observers to Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The Election Commission has the entire nation at its disposal to pick and choose officers to be posted as observers to any of the 5 states which are going to elections. Why choosing from West Bengal and posting in other states? You see, when a state is under election,
what do you think could be the intention? What could be the intention and the reason? Because we are not able to figure out that why only from these states.
I will think that it is disturbing the administrative setup. You see, the food and civil supplies secretary has been transferred. Now, this is the time when the ration should be properly distributed, food grain should be properly transported to needy places. All these need effective monitoring by a senior officer. Now, this officer, who is already sitting there as secretary, knows what is happening in the state. Now, suddenly, if another officer is brought, he takes another minimum 1 or 2 weeks to understand what is the situation. And therefore, normally in government functioning, the most tolerant criticism about the government and constitutional bodies like Election Commission is that there is a method in their madness. That is what people used to say, that they are mad, but there is a method in their madness. Now, this election proves that they are going 1 step ahead. There is no method in their madness. That's all I can say.
Earlier also there used to be transfers, and when we used to read reports that some officers have been transferred, but the scale of transfer, that is really baffling as to what is the reason why they need this kind of a reshuffle. Now, are they trying to make this into a pattern that before every election now some large scale transfers will happen? And is this also some kind of a message for the bureaucracy as well?
Yes, they are going to say, I am the Lord, I am the overlord, I am the super lord, and I will do whatever I want to do. Nobody can question me. Beware of me. That's a message they are passing to the bureaucracy, which is very bad for the very functioning of democracy and also for the federal structure. This is really bad. This Election Commission, let me tell you, I do not have any faith in their neutrality. Their past behavior has clearly shown that they are not capable of neutrality. Now they are going 1 step ahead of their biased attitude. That's all one can say. You need not belong to any political party to fight to come to this conclusion. You be an observer and find out what they are doing. In the last parliamentary election, what did they do? There was a man, no less than the Prime Minister of this country, who told the electorate, if you have two cows, beware. One of the cows will be taken away by Congress party and handed over to one person who has illegally entered into this nation. This was told by no less than the Prime Minister. There was another gentleman, a very senior BJP functionary belonging to, functioning as UP Chief Minister. He said, beware, we are 80%, you are 20%. What is this threat? And what did the Election Commission do about it? They should have taken action. They did not take action. And after everything has been said, after all the damage has been done, they are asking the concerned political parties to give explanation. No, it should be the concerned person who should be asked to give explanation. So the way they behave, we don't have faith.
Right. But before I ask you the next question, let's play out that graphics of how many IPS officers have been withdrawn. Bharani, if you're there backstage, can we have the graphics, please? Now here it goes. Now EC partially rolls back IPS transfers. Now look at this. EC withdraws transfer of 5 out of 15 IPS officers, 10 officers still deputed as poll observers in South India, key posts in Bidhannagar, Siliguri to remain filled for now. Mamata Banerjee slams EC over chaotic decisions, and Election Commission of India faces heat ahead of Bengal polls. Now, why do you think that Election Commission would have thought of transferring 5 out of 15 IPS officers? And it looks like a partial rollback. Now, do you think that this partial rollback is coming as an afterthought, Mr. Balachandran?
Yeah, they seem to have acted in a hurry. And maybe they thought that the 5 whose orders they have withdrawn, it will be seen clearly biased. Even the remaining 10 will be seen as biased, in my opinion, for the simple reason, while they have the right to transfer officers, there is also a convention as to how to transfer these officers. There should be a reason for the transfer of these officers. They have not given any reason. They have just said, we have the power, we have the authority, we transfer. So that is jungle law.
Right, but and you're, as you rightly pointed out, there's no logic, there is no reason given as to why these large-scale transfers are happening. But in such a scenario, what can the opposition ruling states do, like West Bengal, like Tamil Nadu? How do they register their protest? Now, like Kalyan Banerjee is moving to court, but you said that it will not make a difference whether they go to the court or not.
Yes, that's what I think. They can only register their opposition. They can only go to the people. Ultimately, it is the people who are the masters of democracy. Remember what the preamble of the Indian Constitution says. It says very clearly, who are the masters? We, the people of India, dedicate to ourselves this constitution for the nation. So it is the people who are the masters. They have no other option except to go to the people and tell them what is happening.
But would you call this as a misuse of the power? Of course, they have unrestricted powers. The chief election commissioners and the constitution has given them those powers. But do you see this also as some kind of a misuse, a blatant misuse, or an over-exaggeration of what they're doing?
No, it is a blatant misuse of the power that has been vested upon them. When the post of governors were created by the constitution, when the post of chief election commissioner, at that time there was only one election commissioner, later they became 3. When these posts were created, the constitution, the founders of the Indian constitution sincerely believed and hoped that men who are chosen for such offices will have certain attitude of neutrality, which will safeguard the democracy of this nation. We did have such officers. We had Lingdo. We had Shakdar, who were election commissioners. Now, in this country, let me tell you, for the parliamentary election, in one single day, the election was conducted and completed. Why do you want to have in several phases? And for 30 years, Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry had the poll on the same day. What is the logic for Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry?
But on this particular issue, on the number of phases, they have brought down the number of phases. Like earlier, we had 8-phase elections in West Bengal. Now they've brought it down to 2. And in other states, of course, it's just a one-day polling. So this time they've tried to better their record on this front.
Why this long date? You see, they are having poll on April 9 on 3 states. and
Right.
April 23 and 29 in 2 states, Tamil Nadu
Oh,
and West Bengal. And the
right.
counting is on May 4th. Now, my point is, you can have the entire election of all the 5 states, all the 4 states, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Kerala, and Assam, on April 29. And Bengal, you can have it on 2 phases, April 23 and 29. Then, if there is going to be repoll in a few places, you have given some time, and the counting will be taking place on May 4th. Imagine if election is taking place in April middle in 3 states, April 9 in 3 states, and then the counting is going to be done on May 4th. Why such a long delay? It can be averted. What can be averted? Why you are not averting it? That's the question. And let us remember, no excuse like you say law and order force we require. The whole country is at the control and the disposal of the election commission. They can have all the paramilitary forces of government of India and state governments brought under them. From any state, they can bring observers. From any state, they can bring observers. And therefore, what is the need for posting observers from West Bengal to Kerala and Tamil Nadu? Because West Bengal itself is under electoral process. So all these actions, it leaves us with a disturbance. That's the whole problem.
No, but what is the way out now? Now, already whatever damage has been done has been done. There is no way that it can be revoked. Okay, there is a partial rollback, but in what ways does it help the opposition parties? But it's happening on both sides. Like in West Bengal, even Mamata Banerjee has transferred officials. It's not that the transfer is happening only from the CEC's end, but even Mamata Banerjee is indulging in a lot of transfers. So,
No.
I mean,
Mamata Banerjee transferred 11 transfers, I think, just before the electoral declaration, 1 month before, I think. She transferred 11 officials because by the time election is declared, these officers would have completed 3 years and therefore they should be transferred. So she transferred in advance. That is all. It cannot be considered as an extraordinary step.
Okay.
What the election commission has done, they have the power to transfer, but there is a method of transferring. Consulting the state government, asking them to send a panel of 3 names, out of which the election commission will choose whatever name they want.
No, but the kind of powers which are vested within CEC, and those powers have been granted by the Constitution. Now, the manner in which this is being done, do you think that this federal structure of the Constitution, which is again part of the Constitution, that respect the federal structure, even Prime Minister Modi has been talking about cooperative federalism, but when you see things like these, it looks like a complete violation of the federal structure. Now, do you worry or do you fear that this might become a norm now for the states which will be coming to polls in future? Because this is for the first time we are seeing these large-scale transfers like this.
So long as this government continues in the center, and so long as such people occupy the position of Chief Election Commissioner, this will become the norms, as you rightly said, and that will be unfortunate. Let's remember that India is not a total federal state. It's a union of states. It has several federal aspects, but with a strong union government. That was the proposal of the framers of Indian Constitution, believing that the autonomy that is enjoyed by the states will be left untouched without affecting the sovereignty of the nation. This is what they believed. But now, that belief is being put into severe stress. That is what is happening. And it is a matter of great concern.
No, but Mr. Balachandran, right. But if this becomes a norm, what do you think is going to be the impact in the coming months or the years wherever elections are held? This year, I mean, all these 5 states which are going to polls next year, you have Uttarakhand, you have then Punjab, all these states are going to polls. So are we going to see a similar kind of a pattern in those states as well? What could be the impact now? How does one see that?
You see, today Mamata Banerjee will be making it very clear that she is fighting the election, not only against the BJP, but also against the election commission. She will send a strong message to the people. And Bengalis, their electoral consciousness, political consciousness is considerably at a higher level in comparison to many other states. They may listen to Mamata more seriously than believed by election commission or BJP. It's quite possible. Last time also, you see, the Mamata Banerjee has been elected 3 times. The first time, it was anti-CPM vote which brought her to power. The second time, it was her pro-reforms, like free cycles to girls, all the freebies, which were meant as constructive freebies, which brought her to power. What did bring her to power in the third phase? It was neither of the two. It was BJP who brought her to the power in the third time by abusing, oh, hey, Didi or Oi, Didi. This kind of language Bengalis don't tolerate. They just don't tolerate. And Bengal, they respect women.
Right. But Mr. Balachandran, just one or two questions more before I wind up the interview, that this kind of a hue and cry is not seen in Tamil Nadu. What is the reason? I mean, of course, the number and the scale is much higher in West Bengal, but not that the officers haven't been transferred in Tamil Nadu. So why don't we see the same outcry in Tamil Nadu?
You see, Tamil Nadu DMK perhaps is well structured up to grassroots level. ADMK was also like that. Even today, ADMK has a very strong cadre base, but their association with the BJP is not taken correctly by their own cadre. And therefore, with the 3 or 4 cornered competition, DMK is feeling confident. They know that, and BJP is not a big force here, unlike West Bengal. So they think that they cannot, BJP, despite all their attempts to do damage, they will be able to, DMK will be able to contain it. Even in the special intensive role, even in SIR, the DMK cadre was seen to be very active, pointing out many anomalies. Not that all anomalies have been removed, but most of the anomalies they were able to point out. And therefore, maybe they are more confident. Whatever they do, we will be able to overcome it. Mamata Banerjee has one legitimate fear. You see, they can point out all the Muslims as having come from Bangladesh. BJP can say this.
Yes.
And there are some infiltrators, no doubt about it. They can be blown out of proportion. So she has to be extra cautious, extremely cautious against the designs of BJP.
Right. One last question before I wind up the interview, because we are talking about the CEC against whom an impeachment motion is pending. The notice has been submitted. Now we have yet to see how it pans out. But do you think that Mr. Ganesh Kumar should be continuing as a CEC when an impeachment motion is pending against him, or a notice has been submitted against him?
This question is put to the wrong person. You should ask the CEC, not me.
No, of course, and I'm sure CEC is not going to speak, because when on the day when he announced the dates, a question was asked and he didn't wish to speak much on that. No, but the point is that Mr. Balachandran, that if Mr. Om Birla can step aside from office, then in the right wisdom, what does your bureaucratic sense say? That should he be stepping aside, or should he continue and not bother about the impeachment motion?
Caesar's wife should be beyond suspicion. If charges can be leveled against any CEC, but the CEC should be he should be forthcoming and rebut the charges if the charges are false. But keeping quiet about the charges and going ahead with what he wants to do, it doesn't speak high about Mr. Ganesh Kumar, and it doesn't speak well for the great office that he is holding. That's all I can say.
Right. All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining on the Federal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.